Hello and welcome to another wonderful feature of Homeland Security Today's Profiles in Excellence. Thank you for joining us again. We have a very exciting guest with us today, and as you may know from watching any of these are the winners of the Homeland Security Today People of the Year from all across the nation. And the Government Technology and Services Coalition spends time honoring not only first responders and others who are working in Homeland, but also companies and people who support the nonprofit organization. Those people are instrumental in helping us do what we do to help bring Homeland Security Today to you, and certainly to help the mission of Homeland Security move forward. So today, I'm very proud to introduce you to Kendall Holbrook, and she was named the Mid-Tier Member of the Year. So mid-tier companies in the contracting community are those considered, quote, my hands appear from nowhere, quote, other than small. And that's a pretty big distinction. So Kendall is the CEO of DevTech, and she's just done a tremendous job. And I get to intro you even more, Kendall, before welcoming you and letting you say a few words. But when she joined, she had already been working on forging a path for mid-tier companies and written a white paper and called us up and said, you know, what do you think? Can we make some progress here? And I said, well, I can't make you any promises, but we can certainly try. It's the mid-tier issue in the market, in the government market, has been plaguing us for a long time. And so it is with great pleasure that I welcome you to talk to us a little bit today.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you for welcoming me, Christina, and for having me here and for the wonderful award. I was really surprised. We've only been a member for, I don't know, it's probably been about a year and a half, 2 years. But yeah, we kind of did hit the ground running, and we've loved it. Like we really enjoy the work that GTSC does, and, are happy to be able to contribute.
Thank you. Well, and that's the best thing. I mean, the Mid-Tier of the Year award, some people think that means like mid-tier all across everything. And we're like, no, we're kind of selfish about the GTSC awards because they really are geared toward people and companies who've given back to the organization. And so you jumped right in. Tell us a little bit about why you thought it was important to kind of give back to GTSC when you joined, because you pay us money to do things.
I know, we pay you money and then we do the work, right? Yeah, no, I think it's really important. I mean, if you look at Dev Technology's base of business, we are squarely, focused in the areas that GTSC is focused on, right? Homeland Security, federal law enforcement. We do a little bit of DoD work, a little bit of other things, but our portfolio is firmly in that Homeland Security space. And so we have a natural alignment with GTSC. And so because of that, and because of us being in our awkward teenage years, we sometimes call it, we're not a little cute small company anymore, but we're not, the big mature company. We're kind of right there in the middle, which is a sweet spot for us. But, we needed outlets and ways in which to try and continue to make sure we don't get stuck in a place where we're not able to compete and we're not able to keep our business that we've worked really hard to put together, because all of our business, when you look at what we do, is supporting the mission of our clients. We are an IT provider that doesn't do a lot of just generic IT. We do IT that supports mission directly. So whether it's with the Customs and Border Protection on the cargo program, or over some of the programs we have over in ICE, we really are enabling the missions of our clients. And so we know GTSC is really bought into that. So for us to be able to work with the organization and work with companies like ourselves, it's just a perfect marriage.
Well, I love hearing that. And I do find that companies that join GTSC, our mantra is it's all about the mission. And I love working with people like you who really understand that this isn't a normal job. It's like the job to protect our own kids.
Yes.
So it doesn't get better than matching your mission with really protecting yourself, your family, and your fellow citizens. So yeah, I love that about you. So, gee, I wonder why you won Mid-Tier of the Year.
Exactly.
You shouldn't have been surprised at all. Well, so one of the things that the Lion's Den within GTSC has tried to work on for many years is forging a path and trying to find a way so that all of the investment from DHS and frankly from agencies across the federal government, that investment they make in small businesses then kind of ends as soon as you become other than small. And then you're competing against multi-billion-dollar companies for free and open and for other opportunities. Tell us a little bit about what you think really the advantages of being a mid-tier are, or advantages for your clients.
Yeah, definitely. The biggest advantage for our clients is we are able to do all of the different types of work that we've always been able to do as a small company, right? We've been kind of on that higher end of the IT spectrum. You know, we have developers, application developers, we have, you know, ServiceNow engineers, we have pretty high-end IT providers, right? Service providers. So we can still bring kind of that expertise to our clients, but what we didn't have when we were a really small company that we do now is we not only have those people, but we have mature processes. You know, we have a strong corporate back office. And so it's a good way to pull it all together. In addition, our clients directly have my phone number, right? So if anything goes awry, they can talk directly to the CEO. I sit in on client meetings. I make myself fully available to our clients. So you get that special touch, right? That personal touch, but you also get the maturity and processes that you see with larger companies. And on top of it, you're getting subject matter experts in not only the technologies, but also in many cases, the systems that do support our clients' mission. So it's just it's a nice combination of services where, you know, I think if we were 3 times as large as we were, some of that wouldn't be as evident, right? We become a little bit more commoditized from what we provide. You know, our executive team's a little bit bigger, so trying to get to the right executive to escalate is a little bit harder, right? So, and nothing, not to take away from any of the companies who have attained that size, we all are trying to get there. But right now, we still look and feel like a small business, but we have the processes and the, you know, and the maturity of systems that make us kind of seem like a large business when you actually do work with us.
Absolutely. When the Lion's Den put together the value proposition of mid-tier firms, one of the big points was that they do get to talk to the actual principals, not win the contract and then turn it over to non-principals. So yeah, that's a huge plus. And so the other concern I think about mid-tiers is often that you can't scale as quickly as large businesses. Can you talk a little bit about, if GTSC has helped you or how you've developed partnerships to help you scale, because it's not impossible. And as a matter of fact, pairing together a lot of the small companies helps to get you real niche expertise that can join the team. But can you speak to partnership a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, that's exactly right. Right. The first thing that I always tell clients is no one, I don't care what size company you're working with, no one has tons of people on the bench just waiting to be brought to bear on a contract. They just don't. I used to work for a really large integrator. So I know that there are no bench people, right? So whether you're a company of 50 or you're a company of 500,000, we are all dealing with the same issues when we enter a new client or start a new contract, or just need to surge up on an existing contract. So we do rely on partnerships. You know, and some companies, you know, a lot of our partners are members of GTSC. We've met some additional companies through the organization as well. And we have done some of our own efforts to just try and foster good relationships with our partners. And our partners span the different sizes of companies. You know, there are some who are like us in the mid-tier. There's some smaller companies, and we spend a lot of time trying to work with our smaller companies. And then there's some really large integrators that we also work with. And we do that because with that, whatever that effort is in front of us, you're never sure where you're going to be able to source the right talent for that right problem that the client is going to need to solve. So we do try and cast a wide net, but in doing so, try to forge good relationships in the process. So we know who some of our go-to partners are based on the requirements that our clients have, right? If I know that that client is really looking for someone who's doing unified communications, I know who to bring in for that. If I know they really want, some superior, network administration or database support, then there might be different clients I go to, different partners I go to source that. But yes, it's all about the team. We call them competimates in our company, right? There are companies who we might compete with on one opportunity, and then we're partnered with on the next. And that's just how it works in the DC market. So we try to, foster those relationships and keep strong connections with those in industry around us.
Well, and it helps you pivot and be responsive to the client. I think that's what's really important. And perhaps some of the bureaucracy that is present in really big companies isn't quite there as much, but not that we don't love all of our members. We love all of our members.
Exactly.
So as you have made this journey as the CEO and you are incredibly successful on any stretch of any imagination, what would your advice for some of the small government contractors that may be approaching that ledge?
Yeah, plan. Get your strategy together. We've been planning to be in this place for probably the past 3 to 4 years. I mean, we knew with our growth trajectory that we would end up where we are today. So we planned, right? And some of the things that we planned for, start capturing vehicles, all those vehicles that are coming out of small business, capture them, because you can use them to help make that transition from small to large, with the 5, 10, however long the length of those vehicles will last you. Start creating relationships with small businesses, because you never know when you're going to need to be the sub to small. So we have a network of small businesses. We actually created a small business outreach program several years ago to try and help foster new small business relationships and to do some training and to help prepare our small business partners to be able to be in that prime seat as a prime for us in some cases, right? And then, just making sure that our clients are educated on what we can do and what we can't do as we're coming into our recompetes, getting started early so that they know how to get to us, regardless of what size we might be at the time of the recompete. So it's just all about planning. It's all about working the strategy. You can't go into it, with blinders on. You need to have your eyes wide open and just plan it out and then execute that strategy.
We try very hard with the Lion's Den to get people to do that. As a matter of fact, we allow companies who are technically not mid-tier yet to join and participate in the sessions so they can start, thinking about the future and what they're going to do. Have you used any, I guess it's not exactly a tool, but diversifying your portfolio beyond IT in order to grow? Or have you used a strategy where you're developing commercial clients, or how? You can share as much or as little of your strategy as you want, but what is kind of your strategy for continued growth?
So we haven't left our IT sweet spot. What we've done instead is kind of try to have, it almost feels like concentric circles, right? Where you start small and then you slowly add those bigger and bigger circles outside of your core. And so we've done that through our history as a company, and we're continuing to do it. So we always kind of push the edge of that outer circle just a little bit wider. We shoot big on bigger deals, right? Trying to gain some additional capabilities by bringing in partners and, leveraging existing client relationships we have. We have not bridged to the commercial sector. We opportunistically do commercial work, but we don't pursue commercial work necessarily. So we've been pretty successful in that, kind of pushing the edge of the circles outward, just adding capability here and there through partnership and shooting for larger and larger contracts that allow us to get past performance that we'll need for that next large contract. And fortunately, while we were a small business, we were able to tackle and win some larger opportunities that make it really easy for us to show our ability to deliver on a large contract, even though it was a small business set aside. So those are perfect past performances to help us with that transition. So that's kind of what we did, but that method that each company undertakes is going to be a little bit different, right? There are some companies I know who have kind of equal portfolios, commercial and government, that just didn't necessarily make sense for us just because of where we were and where our relationships were and the type of work that we're doing. But, you know, that is certainly a viable strategy. You know, for us, we were able to just kind of push those circles out all within the government space and the type of work that we do.
That's excellent. So one of the things that some of the small companies have a huge challenge with is they're doing business development, but at the same time, they have to execute on the work. And so sometimes when they're executing on the work, the business development falls off and they might find themselves, you know, all of a sudden your contract's ending and you didn't really do enough BD work. Yeah. What's going to happen next? What's your advice for those CEOs or those companies?
Yeah, so one of the things that we are very fortunate at Dev to have had was when I joined the company, which was back in January of 2010, I joined as the first official 100% BD person. So I was building really the BD capability at the company. And part of the reason that the team asked me to join was because of my discipline to build kind of a BD function. Because without that, and you know, I see a lot of small businesses without that focused person doing BD, you do fall into that trap of executing, but not continuing to build and grow. So when our former CEO and co-founder, Susie Sylvester, decided to promote me to CEO, that was one of the reasons that she gave, was she knew that where we were as a company 3 years ago, we needed that external focus, right? That to enable us to continue to fuel our growth. So having me with a BD background leading the company as CEO, I always look through both a growth lens and a delivery lens. I just can't help it. I can't unring the bell because I was a BD person. So I'm always focusing equally on how are we growing and how are we delivering? And I know that the two are linked permanently. You can't grow without great delivery, and you can't deliver unless you're continuing to grow, because you just don't have opportunities for people and, you know, and ways to bring in innovation and those sorts of things. So they're siblings in a company. So that is a trap. And one of the things that I counsel some of our small business partners on is exactly that if they're hands in delivery in their companies, they have to quickly find a way out of that delivery so that they themselves can focus on the growth, or that they have time to bring someone in and help them get established to focus on the company's growth. So Dev saw that when I joined the company 11 years ago. And so because they saw that, you know, the leadership saw that, the co-founders saw that, we were able to quickly adapt and not do that delivery BD, you know, back and forth thing. And so it's worked. It's worked. You know, our growth has been tremendous because we've been able to do both.
Yes, that is so true. And that's such great advice. Hopefully your mentees are taking it in. I have mentored a lot of small businesses too. And it's true that the delivery can just take you over.
It will.
And then you're not visioning for that next thing. So that's really critical. And congratulations to you, and you deserve to be CEO. That's so awesome.
Oh, thank you.
You really, they are hand in hand. You can't grow a company.
No.
Yeah. So just to wrap up, we want to really thank you very much for your, your commitment and service to GTSC, because you have been a tremendous member. We want to hold you up so that all of our members are just like you. If we did, boy, maybe we'd solve all the problems.
We'll solve the world's
has.
problems.
That's exactly right. Well, or even just procurement. We'll leave the world to other people.
Okay.
But,
all right. Just procurement.
no, I like the way you think. I think the same way. So, but do you have some parting advice for other mid-tiers, or as a small, or some lesson you've learned that you'd like to say as your final note?
Sure. I think, like I said a little bit earlier, it really all comes down to strategy, right? Run your businesses with intention, right? Know where you're trying to head, set those 3, 4, 5-year goals, and then execute your strategy to meet those goals. Without that, you're kind of not focused, right? You may find yourself floundering, but if you set and establish what those goals are and then take that strategy to focus on those, then you have a tremendously larger chance of success. And so that's the one thing that I would say as a good takeaway for any of the CEOs, presidents, executive teams out there from the membership who are looking to say, how do they do it? How do they grow? It's establish those goals, set your strategy, and then work those in conjunction with each other. So it's worked for us. Definitely.
Yes, it certainly has. And that's great advice. I think people hear that advice a lot. Not everyone takes it. And the federal market is a huge ocean to be floundering in.
It's an ocean.
So it is an ocean. So it is great advice. Well, I want to thank you. Couldn't be more deserving of GTSC's Mid-Tier of the Year award. Kendall Holbrook, you are a powerhouse, and we are so happy to have you among us. Thank you
for spending so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great afternoon.
All right, you too.